Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Welcome to Vlogmas week 2. It is the second week of Vlogmas, and this week's vlog is going to be my reading vlog for the Holiday RomComAthon, which is a readathon that's hosted by Michelle, Aoife and Brianna. I'll leave their channels linked in the description if you wanted to check them out. The readathon will be over by the time this vlog goes live. However, this is the second time the RomComAthon has been held, so it might be back next year. I'm not actually sure. But the whole idea behind this readathon is to read romance, and in particular holiday romances. I'm kind of tweaking that and just reading the romances that I want to read. I mean, I will be reading the group book, which is a very merry little meet cute. I'll put the cover on the screen here so you can see, but it's by Julie Murphy and Sierra Simone. That's the group book, which does actually, I think, tick off all of the reading prompts for the readathon, and then there's also some non-reading prompts as well to complete. It's really cool actually. There's a candy cane for the readathon, so you basically colour it in as you go, and I thought that was really different. I've not seen that before for a readathon, but yeah, I guess I'm gonna stop rambling and let's get into the vlog. Happy Thursday. It is currently the 8th of December, so there's one day to go until the start of RomComAthon. However, I have started a book, so I thought I would pop in and talk to you about it because I am probably going to listen to some more of this on my lunch break, and I'm already like 20% of the way through. It's an 11-hour audiobook, but I'm listening on like 1.8 speed. I also don't think I told you what the book is. So the book is A Merry Little Meet Cute by Julie Murphy and Sierra Simone. I haven't read anything by either of these authors before, but I'm really enjoying this. I feel like it's going to deliver on the steam, but it's also really cute, which is what I want out of a Christmas romance. I just almost dropped my camera on the floor, but basically we're following two main characters. So B is an adult film star. She basically has what sounds like an OnlyFans, and then the male love interest is this guy who used to be in a boy band, but now he's trying to change his image because he's known as being a bit of a bad boy, and they're starring in this holiday movie that's meant to be very family friendly. So you learn right at the start of the book that this director is making this movie. However, the lead actress and also half of the crew have been taken out by some kind of illness, and so that's when B is drafted in to replace the main actress, and the story is kind of going from there. There's been like moments of humour that I've really enjoyed, and I do feel like this is going to be well balanced. I feel like it's going to give me those wholesome vibes that I want, but it's not going to be wholesome. I feel like it's going to be really smutty. So basically, it's my perfect book. Like I said, I'm about to go on my lunch break. I'm going to go for a walk so I can hopefully listen to some more of the audiobook, and I will keep you updated on how it goes. But I have high hopes for this so far. I'm really enjoying it. Good afternoon. It is Friday. It's officially the first day of RomComAthon, and I haven't actually read anything yet today. I mean, I did listen to some more of the audiobook for A Very Merry Meet Cute earlier, but otherwise I don't have time to read today until quite late this evening because I'm working obviously for the rest of this afternoon, and then I'm going out for a meal with my family tonight. So I think what I might do is I might try and start a book tonight and then continue it tomorrow. I'm going into Birmingham tomorrow, but I will have time to read on the train there and back. So I don't know what to read because my plan was to pick up Astrid Doesn't Fail, but I don't know whether I want to take a physical book on the train with me. So I might start a book on my Kindle, or I could just keep on listening to the audiobook for A Very Merry Meet Cute because I'm really enjoying it so far. I'm only about a third of the way through, but it's really fun. I feel like it's not very realistic what's happening, but there's been a few interactions between the characters that I've enjoyed, and I feel like there's good tension. I don't know how to phrase it, but both of these two main characters have been told that they cannot do anything to jeopardise this movie. They've both had to sign this contract to say that they're gonna keep their image squeaky clean for the duration of the filming, and it is creating that tension, and I'm excited to see where it goes. So yeah, I might carry on listening to that, but I do want a physical read to read alongside it. I don't know. Basically, this whole update is just to tell you that it's the first day of the readathon, and I don't know what I want to read. Okay, so there's been a change of plan because I realised I really need something that I can read on my Kindle this weekend, at least to start with, because I'm going into Birmingham tomorrow. I promise I will be reading Astrid Parker Doesn't Fail in this vlog, even if I have to extend it for a few days. I will be reading it, so you'll get my thoughts on that later on. But for now, I decided to pick up Mistakes Were Made by Meryl Wilsner because I do have an arc of this on my Kindle. It's already out. I think it came out in November. I'm just really late with getting around to reading the arc. So I've read, I think, the first 3 or 4 chapters of this, and I don't know what I think of it so far because it's very fast paced. It's basically following this college student called Cassie, who's I think 21, I think she's a senior, and one evening she goes out to this bar and she's planning on drinking alone. However, she meets this older woman and they hit it off, and next thing they know, they're having a very steamy one-night stand in the back of a car, and they think that's it. They think that it's just going to be a one-night stand. However, the next morning, Cassie goes for breakfast with her friend, and her friend's mom is there, and it turns out that her friend's mom is the woman that she had the one-night stand with. All of what I just said happens within the first chapter. So when I say it's fast-paced, I mean it's really fast-paced, and I don't know whether I like that. I don't know. I feel like I need to give it a few more chapters to work out whether that pacing is going to be consistent throughout the rest of the book. I think I would have liked a bit more build-up, but I don't know, because I do think that the steamy scenes are well written, but it's just not gripped me as quickly as I think it could have. It's very funny though. That is something actually that I wanted to mention. The witty banter between the characters, I think that's been done really well, and there have been a few moments where I've laughed out loud. So yeah, I don't know, positives and negatives to this one so far, but like I said, I'm literally like 3 chapters in. I'm gonna read some more of it tonight, hopefully. I think there are reading sprints tonight for RomComAthon, but they don't start until 11:30 my time, so I don't know whether I'm going to be able to watch them. I could always watch the replay tomorrow, to be fair, but yeah, I've just got back from dinner with my family, so I'm going to get my pyjamas on, settle down in bed, and hopefully read some more of Mistakes Were Made, as long as I don't get distracted by my phone, which is what keeps happening recently. I keep getting into bed, wanting to read for like an hour, and then I get distracted by Instagram and TikTok, but I don't want that to happen this weekend because I want to get some serious reading done for this readathon.
Alone it's Christmas, but I won't wait till next year to try and fill the distance we've had with decorations in my bag. Taking it slow, won't work in time. It's only so long for Christmas lights. It can't be a song you sing sometimes. I need you to sing it for your whole life. So let me be your family this Christmas. Let this be the season that you've been waiting for. Let me be your family this Christmas. Give to you myself this year, I promise I'm yours. This year you've left me wondering just how you're feeling, and I want you to know my doubts about his real life. Me walking barefoot in the San Diego snow.
I am now around halfway through Mistakes Were Made. I think I'm around 52% of the way through because I read some more on the train to and from Birmingham today, and I am enjoying this a lot more now that I'm a little bit further into it. However, I don't like the writing in this, and I might as well just be honest, I don't like the writing, and I'm really upset because I was really looking forward to this book, but so far it's just a little bit disappointing, and I think it is the writing because it's not the plot. I actually quite like the plot. The thing is, with a book like this, I know going into it that there's going to be an element of the characters lying to other people because that's the whole point of a romance like this, where it's a forbidden romance. It's not something that I'd ever condone in real life. However, I can be okay with it in a book as long as it's handled well. So I'm doing okay with that aspect so far, but I'm also confused because I'm halfway through and I don't know what direction it's going to go in next. All I knew about this book going into it was what I told you happens within the first chapter. Something that I wasn't expecting actually was that this book could be considered a holiday romance because at least the first half of it takes place around Thanksgiving and Christmas. So yeah, I guess I can actually count it for RomComAthon. I wasn't sure if I'd be able to, but I can. So that's a positive, and I am excited to see how this ends because I do feel like the characters have chemistry during the steamy scenes. It's just that a lot of the beginning of this has felt very forced. Whenever there's an internal monologue or whenever there's a stream of consciousness, it feels very stilted and very awkward, and that's taken me out of the story because it's just not flowing very well. There's a lot of telling and not enough showing, and the thing is, I wasn't expecting the writing to be amazing, but I just don't like it, and it's really distracting me from the things that I do like. I don't know whether I'm making sense. I think I'm just disappointed because I was expecting this to be an easy 5 stars, and so far it just hasn't been. I think it's still going to get like a 3 stars, maybe a 3.5. It could get a 4 stars depending on the ending. It's just not been as good as I was expecting it to be, and I'm really upset. Good morning. It is now Sunday. It's the final day of the readathon, and I want to do lots of reading today. I want to go for a walk first because it snowed last night and I feel like it's going to be really pretty outside. It's probably going to be really cold as well, but I'm going to get my big fluffy coat on and hopefully it will be okay. But then once I'm home, I do want to do some reading. I want to finish Mistakes Were Made this afternoon because I've only got like 10% left according to my Kindle, and I'm enjoying this second half a lot more than the first half. The thing is that I think I've already mentioned is I don't like the writing. It's quite jarring at times because suddenly there'll be a time jump in the middle of a chapter, so I'll be really confused and I'll be thinking, wait, what's happening? And I'll have to read back what I've just read to make sure that I haven't missed anything, because yeah, there's so many random time jumps and I'm not really liking that. It is taking me out of the story quite a bit, but I am enjoying the second half, like I said, a lot more than the first half. So I want to finish that this afternoon, and then I'm going to start Astrid Parker Doesn't Fail. I am going to extend this vlog for a few days. I think I might have mentioned earlier in the vlog that that was going to be a possibility, but I also need to finish A Merry Little Meet Cute because I haven't had much chance to listen to that over the last couple of days, but I am planning to do some present wrapping soon, possibly this evening, so that'll be a good activity that I can do while I'm listening to the audiobook. So yeah, that is my plan for the last day of the readathon. Yeah, I feel like I haven't read as much as I wanted to this weekend, but I will catch up with you anyway once I have more reading updates.
I wanna make you, I wanna make you, I wanna make you feel something familiar. I celebrate you, God did his thing with you. Don't be a stranger, be my date. Without you, this ain't a holiday. So let me be your family this Christmas. Let me be your family. Let this be the season that you've been waiting for. Let me be your family.
So it's now Sunday evening and I feel like I have lots to update you on, even though I haven't really done that much today. I did go for my walk earlier, but there wasn't even that much snow. I'm really confused because I have seen the pictures on social media. Everywhere else in the region has had loads of snow, but for some reason in my city we just haven't had that much. So that was a little disappointing. And yeah, speaking of a little disappointing, I did end up finishing Mistakes Were Made earlier, and I think I'm going to give this 3 stars. I did want to say before I get into my final thoughts that if you like the sound of this book, if you like the idea of a sapphic age gap romance with a lot of smut and where there's very little plot outside of the romance, then I would still recommend this. I can see this being a book that I do recommend to people. I just didn't like the writing. Also, I really didn't like the ending. I won't say too much obviously because of spoilers, but I did not like the way that this ended. The characters' personalities to me felt very forced. So Cassie is meant to be really cocky and confident, whereas Erin is trying to get her confidence back after going through her divorce a few years earlier. So I could tell that that's how they were meant to be, but it felt very forced and it was like there was a lot of telling but not enough showing. One of the prompts for the readathon is to read a book that gives you holiday vibes, and I'm counting this even though it's not technically a holiday romance because only part of the book takes place around Christmas. I'm still counting it because I read it. So that's the first reading prompt that I've ticked off. I've also completed a few of the non-reading prompts, which I will tell you about tomorrow because I realised that the readathon actually finishes for me tomorrow because of the time difference and stuff. So yeah, I am going to continue reading Astrid Parker Doesn't Fail because I've read the first 2 or 3 chapters of this. I'm currently watching reading sprints, so I'm hoping to get through a good chunk of this. I feel like I'm going to cough, so I'm going to finish this clip here and I'll catch up with you in the morning. Hi everyone, it's now Monday morning, or Monday afternoon technically. It's Monday lunchtime and the readathon is officially over, so I thought I would pop in and talk through the prompts that I did complete on time, because I did complete a few. Most of them are non-reading prompts, so I'm going to talk through those first. I did watch a holiday movie. I watched the new one on Amazon Prime. It's called Your Christmas or Mine, and it's got the guy from Sex Education in it. I think his name's Asa Butterfield. Basically, it's about these 2 teenagers. I think they're in their first year of uni, and they're at the train station waiting to catch the train home for Christmas when they spontaneously decide to surprise the other person by joining them for their Christmas. But because they both have this idea, they end up swapping trains and going to each other's respective families for Christmas. It's not very believable. First of all, because the train station that they're at is London Marylebone, and I have been to London Marylebone many times, and there's very little chance that they wouldn't have seen each other as they were running past each other. But I mean, I can get past that. It was actually quite fun. It was, yeah, like not super deep or anything, but I enjoyed it and I think I would recommend it if you're looking for a quick British Christmas film. I think it was only around an hour and a half. I also had a wintry drink at the weekend. You probably saw actually, I had hot chocolate at the Christmas market in Birmingham and it was really nice actually. Very expensive and overpriced, but it was a nice hot chocolate. I also had 2 holiday feasts actually this weekend. I went out for a meal with my family on Friday night, and then I also had a roast dinner yesterday. In terms of reading prompts, I can count Mistakes Were Made for a book that has Christmas vibes, and then I'm also 50% of the way through A Merry Little Meet Cute, which I think actually covers all of the prompts, and I'm probably going to finish that within the next few days because I have to do a lot of driving within the next couple of days so I can listen to the audiobook while I'm driving. So yeah, like I said, the readathon has officially ended. However, I am still planning on finishing Astrid Parker Doesn't Fail, which I've left in the other room. I think I'm around 100 pages into this and I'm really enjoying it so far. I really love being back with these characters and in this small town. So for anyone who doesn't know, this is a companion novel to Delilah Green Doesn't Care, which is one of my favourite romance books that I've read so far this year. And this follows Astrid Parker, who's Delilah's stepsister, and she's an interior designer who gets this opportunity to renovate this inn, and it's all going to be televised. It's going to be on this very popular TV show. However, she ends up clashing with Jordan, who's the granddaughter of the owner of the inn and also the lead carpenter on the project. So the TV executives recognise that there's that conflict and that tension between the two of them, and they ask them to kind of play it up for the cameras because it's going to make good TV. And I think it's going to be about them getting feelings for each other, and I'm just so excited for this book. I've been excited to read this all year ever since I finished Delilah Green, and I'm just loving it so much. I'm really, really excited to continue this. I've only heard amazing things so far, which is why I want to finish this in this vlog so I can tell you my final thoughts. But I'm also hoping to finish A Merry Little Meet Cute as well this week. So yeah, I will let you know probably when I'm around halfway through this, unless I fall so in love with it that I decide to just finish it in one sitting, which is a possibility, to be fair. So I am now around halfway through Astrid Parker Doesn't Fail, and I am loving this so much. I wasn't expecting to enjoy this more than Delilah Green. I thought I would like it either as much or maybe slightly less than, but I'm loving it even more. It's actually made me feel quite emotional in places, and I found myself tearing up, which, yeah, wasn't expecting. I just love these characters so much. And I should have said, actually, even though this is technically a sequel to Delilah Green Doesn't Care, you don't have to have read book one to be able to read this because they do stand alone. However, I think because I've read the first book, I feel much more connected to the characters and I care about them so much more. And just seeing the journey that Astrid is going on, I don't even know how to explain it, but it's making me feel very emotional and I'm rooting for her. I really want her to get a happy ending because it's quite heartbreaking, actually, being inside her mind and seeing how she's very aware of what people think of her. She knows that people think that she's cold and that she's uptight, but she doesn't want to be that way, and I really want her to be able to break free from that. The character development is so well done because these characters have flaws, like they're not perfect, but there's something so warm and charming about the writing that I can't help but fall in love with them, and I'm just enjoying this so much. I also really like Jordan as well, who's a new character that's been introduced for this book. I don't want to say too much because of spoilers, but she's been through quite a hard time recently and she's very protective over her family's inn because it's where she was happiest when she was growing up. And so the conflict in this, it's not been like super petty. It has been a little bit childish, I guess, but more in a fun way rather than in a way that's making me feel annoyed. The romance in this has been a very slow burn. However, I think I prefer that, and I think it makes sense for a book like this where you are following a main character discovering their sexuality for the first time. But yeah, I have such high hopes that this is going to be a 5 stars. I actually think this could become my favourite romance of the year, which I wasn't expecting because I did love Delilah Green so much. I thought I would love it equally, but I actually think that this is going to be my favourite romance of the year. So I am here to wrap up this vlog because I finished 2 books today. I'm also sat on a very squeaky chair, so apologies if you can hear that. I'm gonna try and sit still while I talk about these books, but it's gonna be quite difficult with this first book because I finished Astrid Parker Doesn't Fail and I'm giving it 5 stars. I loved this book so much, and you know that feeling when you get to the end of a book and you don't even need to think about it, you know that it's a new favourite. That's how I felt about this book. I just love these characters so much, although I will say I didn't feel as invested in the relationship in this book in comparison to book 1. I think I felt more invested in Claire and Delilah's relationship in comparison to Astrid and Jordan's. However, I still really enjoyed this. This also wasn't as steamy as the first book, however I still felt the connection between the characters, so I don't think it needed to be steamier. Like, it was steamy, but it was also very emotional. I cried many times while reading this, and I liked that the focus wasn't just on the characters' relationship, it was also on the characters' individual journeys. I really liked that aspect. One thing that confused me was to do with the renovation plot. There was some stuff that happened that I didn't think needed to happen, or I didn't quite understand why things were happening that way. But yeah, the ending was really satisfying, and I can't wait for the 3rd book in this series, which is going to follow Iris. I'm not sure when it comes out actually. I don't think it says in this book, but guaranteed I will be reading it. This morning I also finished the audiobook for A Very Merry Little Meet Cute, A Merry Little Meet Cute, I think that's what it's called, by Sierra Simone and Julie Murphy. There's a lot of words in the title and I keep getting them the wrong way round in my brain, but I finished the audiobook for this on my drive to work this morning and I liked this. I think I'm gonna give it like a 3.5 stars. It was somewhere between a 3 and a 4 stars. And the thing that I'm struggling with books like this is that while I enjoy them for what they are, I don't ever fall in love with them and I don't ever get that 5-star feeling from them. I don't know whether I'm going to be able to explain this right, but I felt a very similar way about this book to how I felt about Mistakes Were Made, in that I liked them for what they are. They're fun romances and they're very entertaining. There were some wild scenes in this that were completely bonkers, but that were really fun to read about. I didn't find the ending very believable and I found it a little bit boring. I don't really know how to explain it without spoilers, but I just didn't find the emotional connection that believable. It felt more like these characters were in lust rather than in love, and it felt like the author was trying to convince me that they had this deeper connection that wasn't really there. It just felt kind of shoehorned in. Still enjoyed it though. Like I said, I'm gonna give it a 3.5 stars, and I will say that the narration on the audiobook was really well done. I think I'm learning that I need to read books like this via audio, because when I read them physically, sometimes I don't feel as much emotion as I would like to feel, but a good audiobook narrator can bring that emotion so I don't notice it as much. Hopefully that makes sense. I feel like I've got really bad brain fog today and I'm quite tired, but I wanted to get this outro finished because I wanted to wrap up the vlog here with my thoughts still fresh. But thanks for watching this vlog. If you made it this far, I wanted to say thanks again to Aoife, Michelle and Brianna for hosting this readathon. I had a great time reading romance, and I think it's just what I needed at this time as well, because I was feeling like I was slipping into a slump, but I don't feel that way anymore. So it's been a good time. I've really enjoyed this week, and hopefully you enjoyed this vlog. If you did, then please don't forget to give it a like and click subscribe if you haven't already and you'd like to see more videos from me. But otherwise, I will see you next time. Bye.